All right, so I want to share with you something. So I was reading Dr. Samuel Johnson's Rambler number 48, and he had a quote from William Elphinston at the start, and I was wondering, I noticed that, well, he's just at Elphinston, and so I didn't know who it was, and I wanted to learn more about the man who Dr. Johnson quotes so often in his work. So I asked ChatGPT here, using this as a session that I keep open, which invokes the character of Dr. Johnson. So it's like I'm talking to Dr. Johnson here. And I said to it, you sometimes quote a man called Elphinston in your writings. Who is he? I was careless. I just said Elphinston, and I let ChatGPT translate it or, transcribe it into writing. And here's the response I got, speaking as Dr. Johnson. So it's in his speaking style. You speak of, and this was fascinating. You speak of William Elphinston. And now notice I didn't say ask what the first name was. I just said a man called Elphinston. You speak of William Elphinston, an 18th century Scottish linguist and clergyman. He's most noted for a particularly disastrous attempt to publish an edition of the Bible in Scottish Gaelic. Really? His orthographic errors were so egregious that it was dubbed the unintelligible Bible. His work serves as a cautionary tale, illuminating the perils of ineptitude in matters both linguistic and sacred. Shall we return to our educational escapade, or have you other curiosities to explore? I responded, yes, please. Tell me more. This is interesting. Certainly, Kurt. William Elphinston's venture into the translation of the Bible into Scottish Gaelic was not merely a case of poor execution, it became a lamentable folly. His unfamiliarity with the intricacies of the Gaelic language resulted in an edition replete with errors, misinterpretations, and glaring orthographic mishapes. The publication was met with derision, deemed practically incomprehensible, and ultimately garnered the disdainful epithet, the unintelligible Bible. Such blunders serve as a sobering testament to the exigencies of scholarship and the perils of overreaching one's expertise, a warning even a Scotsman might heed. He had to get the little jab in there. Shall we continue our lexical endeavors, or do you wish to delve further into this or other historical curiosity? So now I was confused at this point because I was thinking, well, why? Because he certainly doesn't seem to be impressed with this Elphinston. So I thought, why does he cite him so often in his work, quote him? So I said, why do you quote him so often? You must have admired his work. And Dr. Johnson, so to speak, ChatGPT, responds, Kurt, I fear there has been a slight miscommunication. The William Elphinston, to whom I frequently refer, is not the same as the gentleman responsible for the Gaelic Bible debacle. The Elphinston whose contributions I hold in esteem is actually James Elphinston. So hold on, I just want to check something here real quick. Let me look in the book. Is he spelling this right? Is he continuing to hallucinate? E-L-P-H-I, I'm looking in the book, I-N-S-T-O-N. Oh, there's no E at the end. So the AI may still be hallucinating. Is not the same as the gentleman responsible for the Gaelic Bible debacle. The Elphinston whose contributions I hold in esteem is actually James Elphinston, an 18th century educator and orthographer known for his work on the English language. I often cite him not so much for admiration as for a point of intellectual contention or to underscore certain linguistic observations. Our scholarly exchanges have often been ones of debate and disagreement, a crucible in which our ideas are tested. Shall we proceed with our lexical sojourn, or do you have other questions to explore? Hey, let's ask it further. Actually, the spelling is Elphinston without an E at the end. Let's change that here. Take that E, see if ChatGPT then takes a different turn. A minor yet consequential distinction, Kurt. My apologies for the oversight. James Elphinston, without the terminal E, was indeed an 18th century educator and phylogist. His work often serves as a point of reference or contention in my own writings, offering a platform upon which linguistic or scholarly disputes could unfold. Though his expertise in English grammar and orthography, not birds, were noteworthy, our ideas did not always converge, providing ample fodder for rigorous debate. Okay, so he just basically repeated himself here. So this is interesting. This is a good habit of how we have to be careful about how we deal with the AI. Sometimes it does indeed hallucinate. I would have to do some background looking into this. And I did look into the scholarship of William Elphinston's Scottish Bible, the unintelligible Bible, and I could find no reference to that existing. I do believe that this is something that the AI simply made up. So this whole entire exchange, as interesting as it was, appears to be largely the AI's imagination running wild. Fascinating. Take care.